So the next one, question for the lawyer. Can you talk about the difference between a pull out and a push in? My son's school says they don't do push ins. They said it at the IEP and I didn't argue because I didn't know what it is and if there's an advantage or a right to something, and I didn't sign. So, this happens all the time, that you hear a term and you're like, I don't know what that means. And so this parent did what I do, which is just go, I'm going to say nothing till I look it up.
Okay, first of all, let's be clear. It's not an NC-17 rating question. It is an educational question.
Yes.
For students that have special education and related services who, for example, might be primarily participating in a general education setting, they can be pulled out of class to go to their related services. So typically, you might be pulled out to go to a smaller speech group, to have occupational therapy, to have resource services. And those services are intended to be, more quiet and more focused. However, they also don't allow the treatment personnel to work in certain ways with a student, and so sometimes it will be viewed as being more advantageous to push into the class. So that would mean have the speech therapist or the resource specialist or whomever go into the general ed or the special ed classroom and actually work in the classroom with the whole class and the teacher, which gives you the benefit of kind of understanding better what's going on in the classroom and what's being worked on, and using the classroom setting to work on certain things that you can't necessarily work on in a small group. So that's the difference between pull out and push in. When people say we don't do blah, 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 that's like a sign that, all the, what is it, when you pull the lever at the casino and everything starts lighting up and making noise and stuff like that, that's a light up and make noise moment, because we don't do is not part of IDEA. We don't do is like, we don't know how to do this, we're intimidated, or our staff is overloaded and we don't have them on that day, but we don't do is a big red flag for you all. And so when somebody hits you with a we don't do, you have to ask yourself, is that consistent with this notion that, there's a zero reject aspect to the IDEA. Nobody is too low, to be eligible if they need special education and related services to benefit from their education. And so if you need a push-in speech therapy session in your general ed classroom so that the speech therapist can work on certain socialization goals, of course you do a push-in. Frankly, the concern about push-ins is that people don't ever do them, or if they go into the classroom, the services are not effective because the class is very loud and there's too many other things going on. I would have expected them to say we don't do pullouts, because there always is sort of a tendency toward wanting to make the group bigger, wanting to make the session shorter, wanting to turn direct instruction into a consult. But that's what a push-in or a pull-out service is in the context of the IDEA.
Well, thank you so much, because I also, when I read that, I was like, we don't, fill in the blank. We don't do, I can't tell you how many times I hear this from parents that they're at the IEP meeting, and I've had it happen at IEP meetings where somebody says, oh, well, we don't do that, we don't do that here.
Right, exactly.
And you're like, well, how can that be? Because it's an individualized education program. So and now hasn't signed the IEP, she or he, and now you can go back and know what it is and have a feel for what you want for your child. But if you want a push-in, if you feel a push-in is appropriate, then it's time to push back. Wouldn't you say, Bonnie?
I would, and also I'd be surprised if anybody put in writing that we don't do push-ins. But I guess because I'm tired and a little goofy today, I had this image as we were talking. Do you remember when you were a kid and we would go to birthday parties? We had those party favors that were like a whistle that when you blew into it, this big long thing unrolled and it
Yes.
made a noise and then rolled back up again.
Yes.
So I think we need to bring those to our IEP. And if anybody says we don't do those, you just get out your party favor and you just like make that noise.
Exactly.
You know, I think that's
because it's ridiculous.
I mean, I have heard so many times we can't do. You know, we can only do 45 minutes of speech because we only have a speech therapist here one day a week. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That's not the basis for setting a level of therapeutic intervention. It's need-based, not schedule-based. And, you know, I really get that teachers are exhausted and administrators are exhausted. I was at a long IEP meeting yesterday, and we had the rare opportunity. Actually, the meeting went so long, the district bought lunch for everybody because they were concerned they wouldn't finish the IEP by the end of the school year. And it was actually really nice to, like, sit around for 10 minutes and like eat salad with the school district, because it really just reminded me that we almost never interact in a social, pleasant manner. And there's a lot of nice people that are trying to do good stuff for kids at school. But, you know, we can't have our kids not get the services they need because somebody's overbooked or understaffed. Our kids only get one shot at getting better, you know, so we can't really say, yeah, sorry, we know you're over booked, so no speech therapy individual in a pull-out session for my son. He can work on his pragmatics when he's in college and you have better funding.
Right. Right. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.